Hi. So you've been with someone for 3 years, but you've been unhappy for two of those 3 years. Or you're in your senior year of a degree, you realize that you hate right from the first year. Or maybe you're in a job for 18 months that's slowly crushing your soul. But hey, at least you're not starting over, right? Wrong. Your brain is playing a very expensive trick on you, and it's time we really talked about it. Welcome back to Huddle Psychology, where we get uncomfortably real about the stuff going on in your head. I'm Rahul Nair, and we are here to decode the psychology behind why we do the weird things we actually do. All right, let's set this up. The sunk cost fallacy is ruining your 20s and 30s, and nobody wants to admit it. We're staying in situations that no longer serve us because we've already invested time, energy, or money, and starting over honestly feels like admitting failure. And who wants to do that? But here's what's really happening. You're actually throwing good time after bad time, good energy after bad energy. You're letting past investments decide or dictate future decisions, which is quite literally the opposite of how smart decision making actually works. I see this everywhere. People staying in relationships where they've become roommates because we've been through so much together. Students finishing degrees they hate because I've already taken out loans. Workers staying in toxic jobs because I've already put in a couple of years. And the worst part about all of this is that we've romanticized this as commitment and not being a quitter. But sometimes not quitting is the thing that's quietly destroying your life. Let me explain. Let's get into the psychology of what we are talking about. The sunk cost fallacy comes from what we call loss aversion. Our brains hate losing things more than they like gaining things. So let me emphasize that. Our brains hate losing things more than they like gaining things. So when you've invested in something, walking away feels like a loss, even when staying is costing you way, way more. It's interesting. So there's also something called escalation of commitment that I want to introduce to you. The more you invest in a failing situation, the more committed you become to making it work. Because admitting it's not working means admitting all that investment was actually wasted. And that's tough. So here's how this kind of shows up in real life. In relationships, you stay with, say, someone because you've built a life together, shared friend circles together, maybe even a lease, right? Of all the things. The relationship isn't abusive, but it's just kind of dead. But breaking up means throwing it all away, throwing away all those shared memories, shared experiences, starting over again socially, dealing with the logistics, So you kind of stay and hope it gets better while both of you slowly become more and more resentful. That's how this shows up in relationships. Let's move on. In careers, you picked up a major when you are, say, 18 years old. You got a job in that field, but you're miserable. The work doesn't fulfill you. The industry is kind of toxic, but changing careers actually means throwing away your education, starting at entry level in a new industry, in a new job, somewhere new. So you stay and you kind of tell yourself that it might get a little better after the next promotion, which never really happens. Next, in commitments, you joined a friend group or a sports team or maybe even a organization of your liking or even started some kind of creative project. It's no longer fun, nor is it giving you any meaning, but you've already kind of put in so much time that leaving feels like giving up on all of that investment. But here's the thing that economists, and I have a degree in economics, but here's the thing economists understand that our emotions don't. Some costs are gone. Some costs are gone forever, regardless of what you do next. It's gone, kaput, vanished. The time you spent, the money you invested, the energy you put in, that's already spent. It's spent. The only question that matters is what decision will you make that is going to improve your future. It'll make your future better. What decision will make your future better? So, how do you break free from the sunk cost trap? Three strategies that I want to share with you. Number one, the future self test. Here I like to fire up your imagination a little bit and do a bit of creative thinking. Use your imagination and imagine yourself 5 years from now, 10 years from now. If you stay in this situation, how do you think? How do you think the future you will feel about the present you's decision? How do you think future you will feel about the present you's decision? Will they thank you for kind of sticking it out, or will they wish you'd had the courage to live or to leave sooner? This helps you kind of move the focus from past investments to future costs, right? If you reframe and think about what your future self will want from your present self, you're essentially moving the focus on future costs instead of focusing on past investments. So that's one way. Secondly, the fresh eyes method. Pretend like a 5-year-old. Pretend you're advising a friend in the exact same situation as you are, and but they haven't invested any time or energy yet. What would you tell them to do? We are really much more rational about other people's decisions because we are not emotionally invested. We are not emotionally attached to their sunk costs. So we are pretty rational about it. So imagine what you would tell a friend. So that's another method. Third, and the final method, which might be useful, is called the opportunity cost reality check. Again, this is a concept from economics. What are you not doing because you're stuck in this situation? That's a good question to ask. What are you not doing because you're stuck in this situation? What relationships, experiences, or opportunities are you actually missing out on? Sometimes the cost of staying isn't just unhappiness, it's also the potential happiness that you're giving up from doing other things. So that's called the opportunity cost reality check. And look, I'm not saying quit everything the moment it gets hard. There's a difference that we need to recognize between temporary challenges and fundamental misalignment. The question is, are you working through a rough patch towards something you actually want? Or are you just avoiding the discomfort of starting over? That's the question. Here's a permission that you might actually need. It's perfectly okay to change direction. I've done it a million times. It's okay to admit something isn't working out. It's okay to waste past investments if it means making better future decisions for yourself. Your 20-year-old self did not know what your 30-year-old self would need. So give yourself permission to course correct. So here's the homework for this week. Identify one area of your life where you might be feeling or you might be falling for the sunk cost fallacy. Ask yourself, if I had to make this decision fresh today with no past investment to consider, what would I choose? Would I still go for this or not go for this or what? Don't make any big moves. Just get honest about whether you're staying for good reasons or just staying because you've already invested. And remember, the best time to have planted a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is now. And the same goes for your own life. Same goes for making changes in your life. So, best time was many, many years ago, but the next best time is obviously now. So, that's something to keep in mind. So, next week, we are going to be diving into a very interesting topic of the imposter syndrome versus the Dunning-Kruger effect. Something technical sounding, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Basically, we are going to talk about how to tell if you actually don't know what you're doing. How do you tell whether you don't know what you're doing or if you're just confident enough to fake it? Spoiler alert, the people who worry they're imposters usually are not. And the people who don't worry, well, that's the problem. Anyway, we'll deal with that next week. In the meantime, let me know in the comments what's one thing you've stayed in too long because of sunk costs. Let's normalize this. Let's normalize admitting when something is not actually working, and it's okay to start over. And if you want to go deeper into this subject, as usual, check out huddlepsychology.substack.com for the full research breakdown. And if you need to talk it through one on one, then hit me up at rahul@huddlepsychology.com. Drop me a note. And so until next time, keep huddling, keep growing. Ciao for now.